Hi. Hello, folks. How are folks doing? Hello. Whew. Well, y'all, as you know, hey, KEKY823. As y'all, I mean, at least for those that know me, know probably that I have been sick and I haven't been able to do a live for a few days just because it's been really difficult to talk. Now I kind of have like an ear issue right now. Like I can't hear out of my my right ear very well right now. KEKY823 said, are we talking pollen? I don't typically talk pollen, to be honest, KEKY823. I typically talk like Lucula, but I don't typically talk pollen. It depends though. Is there something about pollen you want to speak on? Also, like I probably want to talk to some folks about the chicken shop date with Andrew Garfield and Amelia. Oh, you use them interchangeably? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I typically don't, simply because I feel like pollen is like the show and Lucula is like the actors. But I understand that some folks do use it interchangeably. So good to know. Hey, Empress. KEKY823 said, I'm more obsessed with Lucula. Karina03 said, hi, Phoebe, you sound better. Good to see you. Thanks, Karina. It's just my ear right now. It's like, it feels like, it's like stuffed up. Like I cannot hear out of my right ear very well right now. It's driving me up the wall. But anyways, I mean, there's certain things like during the time that I've been sick that I haven't been able to go live about. Obviously, I've done a few videos, but there was Nicola's new Time article, her new post, and then obviously the Andrew Garfield and Amelia chicken shop date. Empress says, you sound and look a lot better, Phoebe. Thank you. I mean, I almost feel like fully better, except like my ear right now is really bugging me. I can barely hear out of this ear. I'm pretty sure it's just I need to get it, whatever. Ella Chada said, hi, Phoebe. Hope you're feeling better. Me too. I'm getting there. Isabella Marie said, oh, no, there's still inflammation. You look better. Thank you. Is that what's causing that? I thought it was just because I need to, like, deal with my ear stuff, but it's what do y'all want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about her Time article? Do you want to talk about her post? Do you want to talk about chicken shop date? Which is not Lucula related, but still fun because it is shipping related. Dee said, happy to see you up and moving. Me too. Lizzie said all of it. Well, okay. I mean, a lot of these conversations spaced off of like what y'all want to discuss. So Isabella Marie said, I don't know what chicken shop is. Can you explain? So chicken shop date is this show that Amelia, and I don't know how to say her last name. It's really long. But she does it, and she does red carpet stuff. And I remember seeing a red carpet with her and Andrew Garfield and thought it was just the cutest thing ever. Because Andrew Garfield is very like a very confident, like self-assured person, and he's kind of he's charming and all these different things. But when he was around her, he'd be like a little giddy schoolboy. And anyway, so she invited him onto her show, Chicken Shop Date. And it was just so cute to watch their dynamic. SMAR31 said, hi, Phoebe. Hi. Ella Chada said, I haven't watched the Chicken Shop Date, just clips. I don't want to go down that path again. I hear you. Sammy2224 said, chicken shop is hilarious. I've actually never seen a chicken shop show, chicken shop date show until recently. with the Andrew Garfield one. I've never seen other ones that she's done, actually. Isabella Marie said, oh, he has a crush. I mean, it is actually quite cute how they interact. He is a little bit of, and I mean, and it's cute because throughout the whole episode, he's basically saying we could have done this as a real date instead of on the show. Which a part of me felt like you could have done that anyway, Andrew, since you have her phone number. You could have just asked her. But obviously he had been dating somebody else, so who knows when they exchanged numbers, and then when he started dating that other person that they ended their relationship, I don't know when. So, who knows? But they're adorable. I mean, there's so many, honestly, adorable people you could honestly ship right now. That's so cute. Like, even like Meryl Streep and what's his name? What's a guy's name on that one show with Selena Gomez and Martin Short? That's what I thought. Yes, Meryl Streep and Martin Short. They're adorable. They're also adorable. Isabella Marie said, yeah, ask her out and go out and have a great time. The thing is, when she asked him, like, and I did the video on this, when she asked him, like, who do you kiss on the first date? The way she smiled after she asked that question, I was like, I feel like you know. I feel like you know. But yeah, that's the answer to the chicken shop date one. Were there any specific, like, portions of the Time 100 article that y'all love the most when looking at Nicola stuff? You're welcome, Isabella. Were there any particular portions that you loved the most? You know what? One of the things that I didn't read that I really appreciated that Nicola said was in regards to her body and people's commentary on her body. Lizzie says her honesty. Yeah. Ella Chata said her talk about body shaming. I mean, this is, you know, there's a statement that she made that I was like, oh, this is so on point. Especially, I've seen it in, like, social media worlds, right? Where when people connect too much to, about people's bodies, where she talked about, look, if I had to lose weight for a role, are you going to stop loving me? Are you going to stop liking me just because I have to lose weight for a role? Like, basically saying, you know, my body shouldn't be my definer. Like, you know, and also to call me brave, and I love when she pushed back on that brave statement about her body. Like, I mean, and I still laugh every time I think about how she's like, yes, it's so hard being part of the perfect breast community or whatever she said. It was hilarious. But I mean, but at the same time, not. She's speaking on point, right? But it's like, why is her body, like, it's not like, her basic thing is like, that's not a compliment to call me brave. Like, what in the world? Yeah, so Ella Chata said her talk about body shaming. Empress said for the fandom, it'd be her mentioning Luke and talking about her body. Sammy2224 said yes, Queen. Karina03 said that was such a good point. Isabella Marie said, I just got the magazine. The mag stand mostly had the one with her on the cover. They know. Felker L says, she flips the script so well. I love that. Helen79 said, hello, feeling better. I'm not 100% better. My ear right now, like, it's so hard to hear out of this ear right now, is bothering me, but I'm like, there's no sore throat, which is, I'm glad about. I'm kind of still a little stuffy up here. And so I don't know if it's like the medication actually worked, but I haven't taken medicine in a little bit, and it's still like holding up. So, I might be feeling better. I don't know. Karina03 said, I love that she brought up Luke. Smar31 said, try putting a heating pad on your ear. Really? Jan said, sinus infection, ear infection. I hope it's not an ear infection. I was just hoping that it was like trying to get wax out or something. When I put a heating pad on my ear, what will that do? What does that do? I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but like, what does he do? Anyway, so, you know, Ronnie put out a really great video talking about, is it too late? SMR31 said, yes, really, it will help. It may release the pressure. Oh, okay. I will try that after this live. So Ronnie did a really great video talking about, like, would it have been too late? Would it have been too late for Nicola or Luke to put a formal confirmation or denial? Well, maybe not confirmation, but denial. Well, I mean, I think she talked about both, but let's just talk about denial. Or like kiboshed. Like, because what people came away from this article saying she never gave a definitive answer one way or the other. The question is, would it have been too late? Would it have been too late to do that at this point? Ella Chada said, to drain the fluids, try a home remedy: tea, hot water, apple cider vinegar, lemon, and honey. To drain the fluids from my ears? Or from just my whole body? From like the stuff. And so I would love y'all's thoughts on that. Do you think that, because I mean, I agree that there's two camps. There's people, I mean, I don't know if there would only be two camps if they came out and officially like kiboshed any talk. There would be the camp that would be like, you lied to us, even though they didn't, right? But people may end up feeling that way. And the other one is like they would have been like, well, why couldn't you have told us earlier? And then another one would be like, I don't believe you. I think you're lying, no matter what you said. D said, I don't think so. One side will not be happy. Sammy2224 said, no, I feel more confused now. To be honest, I'd rather a definitive answer. Jan said, she didn't put a stop to it, so I feel like they have something going on. KEKY823, if they lie to us, completely understand. They deserve their privacy. Isabel said it might slow it down a little, but it will never disappear. Yeah. I mean, all of these have a lot of pieces, right? So Sammy with there are folks that are just like, just give me an answer, please. Like, I just don't want this, like, trying to figure out which one it is. Just tell us a definitive answer and we're good to go. But then there's this side, like Jan, where it's like, well, if they're not stopping it, there must be something going on. Now, the offering that some people have given about, I think maybe it was Sammy in the comment section of Ronnie's video, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was, had suggested that maybe part of it is understanding, like, or maybe it was Ron. Okay, it doesn't matter. Somebody said it, and it stuck in my head about, like, there are repercussions to their shows, to their things, if people sometimes try to backlash that, you know, or it distracts too much from their actual, like, work. Because people have invested so much on their personal lives that it starts to affect their actual professional lives. So it could be nothing more than, not that anything's going on, more than not wanting to harm their shows or the things that they're involved in and people's interest in those shows. Not as a, like, a means of deception or anything, more than, like, it's already a distraction, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense as a person. Does, you know? And KEKY823 said when you said if they lie to us, completely understand. They deserve their privacy. And I don't think and the thing is, they don't have to lie to us to be able to, I mean, they might do omission if they're wanting privacy. I mean, I just think, again, I think of so many stars that is the way they go about keeping anything private. With Isabel saying that it will never totally disappear. It might just slow down a little bit. Sometimes slowing it down a little might actually still be beneficial, even though there is that reality that it may never disappear. Tis I, Megan said, regardless of the outcome, we're too far in now. It can affect them either way, in my opinion. That's probably true. I mean, not probably true. It's I think it is true. Well, I mean, I leave space to be wrong, but I'm likely to agree with you there, because it's just people get so committed to narratives sometimes that there is this thing called backfire effect, where the more you try to convince people that they're wrong, the more that they double down. Thank you, watching lady, for the daily heart me. So I feel like it would get affected no matter what. Isabella Marie said, I heard on a post that they didn't create it but fed it. Okay, I could see that, Isabella. Thank you, watching lady, for the gift. The hard part of it is, did they feed it, or did narratives feed it? Meaning, like, you see what you're looking for. So if a person's committed to seeing everything through a particular lens, you will read that meaning into things, even if that meaning is not there at all, right? So did they feed it, or did we feed it with a narrative? I don't know. Because sometimes their post could be completely benign, but somehow we find ways to make it something bigger than they might be making it for themselves. Sometimes it's just a post, but it's like people want to find things there that might not be there. Now, it might be there, but I'm just saying, I don't know if they necessarily fed it more than our narratives and the ways we wanted to see things fed it. Sue said, I think it's too late now, one way or the other, unless they marry someone else completely. And then sometimes even then it doesn't stop, folks. Isabella Marie said, yes, that's exactly what that other content creator said. Which other content creator? Ronnie? The one I'm trying to quote, but I didn't want to misquote. Sue said, I think they had no idea the shipping would go this far and they didn't know how to handle it. I would agree with that. I don't think they thought it was going to go this far. I don't think they thought that it would continue so much even after the tour was over. And it's hard because I think they did think it was sweet. And like some people said, they haven't taken it back. And it's like, well, I hear that. And yet I feel like a lot of things have already changed since they said it. But I understand that they've never officially taken it back, that statement. Thank you, Dowsy49, for the daily heart me. But I think that I definitely don't think that they thought it was going to go this far and people would be this committed so much after. Felker L said, the more they keep it a mystery, the more invested the fans are. Keeps them relevant, perhaps. I mean, perhaps. I mean, I think they're relevant. I mean, I think Nicola's relevant now, with or without it. And I don't think that Luke wants that kind of relevancy, to be honest. But again, I don't know. Hey, watching lady. How am I doing? I'm doing better. I still kind of stuffed up my ear. I can't barely hear from this side, which is kind of annoying. But I'm functioning. So I think that's a plus, you know? So I don't know. Sorry, I was like checking out my teeth a little bit. I'm trying to like do this new toothpaste powder thing that I've seen on TikTok. So today was my first time of using it, so I was trying to see if it made a difference. Okay, KEKY823 said, so do people not feel that her statement was definitive, or they just don't believe it? KEKY823, I don't think people think the statement was definitive. I think people felt like it was still open-ended. And the reason why I think people still feel like it's open-ended was it wasn't something like, you know, a lot of people want me to marry Luke. But, you know, we have just this gorgeous friendship, and that's what it is. Just a friendship. Nothing more. And, you know, and we have our respective relationships right now. And we appreciate that people want this, but that's not where we're at in life right now. Obviously, she doesn't need to say any of that, but like that's a definitive statement. For people, when she said, you know, a lot of people really want me to marry Luke. It's a gorgeous friendship. There's a love. We truly love each other. I'm never going to have this experience with anyone else. And isn't it gorgeous to have that a man and a woman can have a relationship like this? So it was like, well, like what? The one that has a foundation of friendship and a love and an experience that only the two of you could have? That kind of relationship? Like, what relationship is that exactly? So that's why it doesn't feel definitive to folks. Now, for folks who felt like it was definitive, they really clung on to the word friendship. But we all know that friendship is foundational to any relationship, and friendship is a relationship. Whiskers Fluff, I think he said, thank you for the gift. So all of that is like that. So people who thought it was definitive really clung on to the word friendship, because they added the word just friendship in front of it. Like there's never been a just. They've always they've always talked about friendship. And so people are like, they've always said they're friends. Yes, nobody's denied that they've always talked about the fact that they're friends. Dowsy49, thank you for the gift. Tis I Megan said Zendaya said a similar thing in an article. Now look. Exactly. And Selena Gomez said that about Justin Bieber. Well, she actually said at that time, like, he's like a brother to me. And actually, there's been many a times that there's been artists who say things like, that's like a sibling to me, like a brother to me, or and then they end up dating. So those kind of statements are never definitive, because usually every good relationship has the foundation of friendship. So that's why it's not that people don't believe the statement, KEKY823, it's that they think that the statement doesn't say what other people think that it says. 406 Wildflower said, why did she even bring Luke up in the interview at all? I think because I think the question they were talking about, I think Pollen and the world tour. And I think that it's hard to know unless we hear the full interview. But I think that they were probably talking about world tour, Pollen, her Bridgerton world. I mean, Luke's going to come up in that naturally because he's part of that world. Now, mind you, she could have brought up any other people as well in Bridgerton world, and she either didn't choose to, or it didn't end up in the article, but she may have brought up other people, but it just happened to be Luke. That was the conversation. But then maybe that was the choice of the article, of the people knowing that there's interest there. But anyways, hopefully that answers your question, KEKY823, of why it's not a matter of whether people believe it. I think they believe her words. I just think that people, depending on the narrative that they have in their mind, either take the word friendship and make it all that she said, versus people who feel like the friendship is part of the whole package of what was actually said in that statement. And they felt like it was not definitive. Watching Lady said, I think they are absolutely okay with the fact that we are shipping them. I mean, I have no proof to say otherwise, because the only proof that we have that is definitive was what they said during the press tour. Which, I mean, and I understand why people hold on to that, because that's what that's what's on record. Anybody assuming that they've changed their mind is just based off of assumptions because things have changed. Like sometimes I feel like it's changed, but then at the same time, it's kind of like people who are constantly questioning whether Luke and Nicola are still friends. And I'm like, look, like the drama in the fandom doesn't affect them. Like there's other things that may affect them that comes from the fandom, but not the drama within the fandom. And I think that like their friendship is always going to be okay. It's been around for 5 years and more. So they'll be fine. So with that said, like, I can understand why you're like, let's just cling to, or not cling to, let's just stick to what they actually said in the press tour, because there's nothing else that they've said otherwise to give us the impression that they're not for it. Now, some people might say, well, if they are in respective relationships, like, isn't the respectful thing to not ship them, you know? And that's the reason why I went through the whole, like, oh, what is the proper response, you know? But the reality is, again, it's still a lot of assumptions, because neither of them have ever said anything about any of the potential respective partners. So it is still assumptions people are making. Now, some people will feel like it's assumption based off of like legitimate evidence. But other people can look at that evidence and disagree, and people do. And so that's why it's hard, because there is no hard evidence for either one. Even though I can understand why people think, well, just use your noggin and your common sense and look at 1 + 2 = 3, and y'all are just trying to not see what is blatantly there, which I understand where people are coming from when they say that. But when it comes to like, did you hear it out of either of their mouths? The answer is no. So you are still basing it off of your assumptions and out of your own narratives kind of things. But can people make a case for why they believe they're in respective relationships? Yes. And anybody who says that they don't have, like, the people who believe they're in respective relationships don't have evidence, now you're just playing yourself. Now that's just pure denial of the things that people are offering. However, I can understand you being given that evidence and still feeling differently about what you're viewing. Again, based off of like what people are willing to consider and not consider in their mind as possibilities of how to interpret that evidence. Isa B said, I don't feel like they lied to us. They have never confirmed it. We want, and it stopped there. I don't know why. Jess said, all the mystery and attention benefits them. Why put a stop to it? I mean, I think the reason to put a stop to it is if it gets really out of hand. Like, really out of hand. Where, like, their lives are in danger. And I think that's why I'm like saying that I think they thought it was under control a lot more than it turned out to be. It became more of a wildfire in ways that they didn't, I think, expect it to happen, you know? Sammy2224 said they know what we think. I don't believe they deliberately deceive us. I agree. I don't think that they're deliberately deceiving us. I don't believe that at all. I do think that as people, we can tend, like, if we are really committed to a particular narrative, we have the potential to deceive ourselves. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we are. I think we saw what we saw. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes if we're not open to potentially seeing something from a different perspective, and we're so gung-ho, like this is the only way you can interpret the situation, no matter which side we're at, we're probably far more committed to a narrative than we think that we are. If we can't even let any other opposing viewpoint into the space of our minds. Not to say that if you allow those opposing viewpoints to come in, that you have to agree with them. But if you can't even sit and listen to them and consider them, then usually that means like you want to only hear what is going to confirm your own existing thoughts. Lorem said, hi. Hi, K-Girl. Aluxview Ken 4D said, 100% Nick doesn't need anyone to make her relevant at this point. Agree, 100%. Karina03 said her statement wasn't definitive. Aluxview Can 4D said, I was just surprised she brought him up. Elichata said it was definitely open-ended. Tammy Morgan said, just came in. What statement are we talking about? Tammy, it was the statement around the question of, the statement where she said, a lot of people want me to marry Luke. And then that whole paragraph, but starting from that sentence. Sammy2224 said Nick never had to say people want her to marry Luke. What was so funny to me is I realized that people all had different definitions for endgame. I recognize that there are people like Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell that are totally in a committed relationship and they never choose to marry. But when I always said I'm an endgame Lucala shipper, that was always with the assumption that they would get married. That was my hope when I said I'm an endgame Lucala shipper. So that's why when people were in Lex's comment section being like, who said marriage? And I'm like, I did. And then people were like, oh, you said endgame, but we thought that meant dating. And I'm like, I'm not just for dating. They could date anybody. But to me, endgame is no, you get in a relationship, but that's your person. But I always said they're endgame if they choose to be. Nobody can choose that but them. But it was interesting that the fans picked up on the fact that she said marry Luke, when it's usually that's not the step. Usually the first step is the fans just want you to date and consider each other. Then maybe once you're dating, then you can the people would root for marriage, but you haven't even been dating unless you have, you know what I mean? So I think her stating that statement actually made people analyze that statement even more, because people started feeling oh, marriage? Who said marriage? We would be thinking just dating. We would be happy with just dating. So why are you talking about marriage? That seems like a leap. So I think that actually opened up a lot more questions for some people who were just rooting for them to start dating. It's All Love BB said, it seems the door was left open. KEKY823 with 3 hearts. Karina03 said, I've never described a friendship as gorgeous. I don't know if I have either, but I actually love it. And I probably would choose to describe some of my friendships as gorgeous, to be honest. Bombshell Baby 22 said, but did we need to say marriage? See, this is what I'm saying, Bombshell Baby 22. I do think that she opened it up a lot when she said the whole Mary statement. And the thing is, again, fans pick up on things that I don't. I read that and because in my head of me talking about Endgame, I just took that as of course. Also, when someone brought up to me, is who are people? And I was totally in my head was oh, well, Lucala shippers, because the beginning line was around how fans rooted for more than just Pollen, but rooted for Lucala. And so I just immediately thought Lucala shippers, but then it was oh, what? But people is a catch-all statement. And we have seen cast and crew and family and friends all make comments to them. I don't know if marriage has been stated to her through them. But definitely they've rooted for some of that. And we've kind of seen that, right, with some of the postings that people have put, that are from the crew, right? Linnell said, hello. Aluxview Can 40 said, people see it as a door left open. KEKY823 said, perfectly, I'm all for it not being definitive. Miss M said, if they mention people shipping, she could say how invested fans are and then talk about the show. Rashilla said, I just love the article. I go crazy with your theory about the quote. A lot of them. Felker L said, she said, gorgeous friendship. That's very special in some way or another. Jess said, it also said relationship. Tis I Megan said, friendship is not end all. It could become more if they wanted to. Rashilla said, I'm very sure they flirted definitely in season 1. hopefully not Rashilla, since he was still in a relationship with Jade at that point. I think, they talked about how there was always chemistry that existed between them. Or at least the characters maybe of, I don't know. See, actually, I'm not quite sure. Somebody can fact check me, because I don't know where they said the chemistry was. Was the chemistry between the two of them, or the chemistry between Colin and Penelope? My guess was in regards to Colin and Penelope, where they're like, we had to hold back that chemistry because you were not supposed to see a romantic thing between the two of them in season 1 and season 2. But I also think as Nicola, we were not supposed to be seeing anything romantic season 1 and season 2, because again, he was in a long-term relationship with Jade at that point. Beth said, but they don't need to tell us. It's obvious they are with others. Miss M said, I mean, someone with the show posts that interview portion with the song Lover. Tammy Morgan said, maybe those who are close to her has asked if maybe she could see marriage, and that's where that's from. Beth said, Nick has often stipulated they are friends. I mean, and Beth, I don't think anybody questions that. 100%, nobody questions they are friends. I think the difference is, again, how people choose to hear that description. Simply because they've never said just friends. I do think they are just friends at this moment, personally. However, they've never explicitly stated anything. Do they need to? No. But it just leaves people, again, to kind of speculate their own ways around it. And also because we've seen enough interviews with people who called each other friends, and next thing we know, they're married or dating. So we also know that telling people in an interview that somebody is your friend does not limit someone from actually being a potential relationship in the future. Dowsy49 said, I think she left the door open. Felker Al said, it takes 2 years for a new season, keeps the fans engaged. That's what I meant by relevant. Beth said, they don't deliberately deceive us. They are the type of people that displays closeness differently. I would agree with that. And also they're actors. I mean, so sometimes actors are just, not all actors, but I think there's a touchiness sometimes that exists. Not always, but sometimes. Beth said Nick literally stipulated they have a gorgeous friendship. She also said it was a gorgeous relationship, which, again, a friendship is a relationship. But, I mean, if somebody... and this is why I said earlier that it really depended on where people chose to emphasize. It's kind of like when people emphasize certain words. Like here, you emphasize friendship. Another person could have gone to the final sentence and wrote gorgeous and then put in all caps relationship, because that is what she also said is a gorgeous relationship. Isn't it a gorgeous relationship to have this between a man and a woman or something like that, right? So in the same way you put in all caps friendship, another person could have taken the final sentence and done the same thing, because people, again, actively look for what they look for, and feel like this is what confirms it one way or the other. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to give a full view of where people are coming at, and why people may think the ways that they're thinking. Zigzag_Elf said, hi. Lack Diva said, samesies. Lala 1083 said, people want me to marry Luke versus people want us to get married. Interesting choice of words, in my opinion. See, this is what I mean. Like, honestly, like, people can read everything and say why that particular, why that particular choice of words? Now, Lala, you're going to make me think. Lala, you're making me think too much now. Because that is an interesting choice of words, right? That is an interesting choice of words. Which makes me, there's no proof. There's no proof, but you're just making me feel this way, Lala. And I don't know if you meant to make me feel this way with this comment. But it makes me feel like she has personal conversations with people who are close to her. Because if she was just talking about the fan base, she would say people want us to get married. But when you say people want me to marry Luke, then it makes me feel like that's personal conversations. That someone literally told her, I want you to marry Luke. We want you to marry Luke. Because we're not having those conversations. We're saying we want them to get married. But that is a really great statement, Lala 1083. I never, and I'm not saying that's even the reason she said it that way. But I'm saying that I'm more likely to hear it that way now that you ask why didn't she say us versus just me. That is a really great question. The me statement makes it feel like more personal conversations than fandom conversations. Not to say that that's the truth, but that's just how it lands to me when you ask me that question. Alachada said, and I don't even know if that was a question. You were just making a comment, but it landed to me like, whoa, now I have to reconsider that statement. Alachada said, yes, endgame means marriage to me. Isabella Marie said, right. Isabella Marie said, so interesting. So I'm guessing you're probably thinking about the Lala 1083 about so interesting, because I do think that that's an interesting commentary, and I'm sitting with it because I'm like, ooh, I never thought of it that way. Why did she say me, not us? Which again makes me gives the impression of like personal conversations that she's remembering that she's had with people who kind of like are encouraging that. I just don't feel like that's a statement she would make if she was thinking about the fandom alone. Jan said, I feel like her family would want her to marry, but she said people, so it's more than the fandom. Tanya said, Phoebe, how are you feeling? You sound better. Thanks, Tanya. Almost 100%. Not really, actually. I mean, I'm still a little stuffed up, and then I can't hear out of this ear very well. Beth said, this is frustrating. I have a gorgeous friendship. She is trying to be kind. Beth, here's what I will suggest if you find this frustrating. You have to make a decision whether there's things that is outside of your control, right? So I don't want you to feel like, so if you're in the space right now, I don't want you to feel frustrated that you're hearing other perspectives. I need you to make a decision for yourself of what you feel you can handle. If it is hard for you to hear that other people interpret that conversation or that statement very differently from you, and it's not with malicious intent or because they're trying to read into it. Maybe people are trying to read into it more than she was trying to give. But like, I need you to do what is best for your mental health. And if it is important for you to have people agree with you, and if you find yourself getting so frustrated that people are not 100% going, I'm agreeing 100% on this with you, like I think it has to be a decision for yourself, what you need to do. Because in this live, I'm going to be talking about the different perspectives that people have, including the one that you have, right? Which is that it is just a gorgeous friendship. That's where it ends. It's not anything more. And I don't think that, thank you, Kim, for the Daily Heart Me. I don't think that Nicola feels the need to, like she said in the article, right? That as a woman, there's always this like need to be kind, but also like kindness is not like, oh, I mean, like she doesn't owe people that either. So I do feel like Nicola has put her foot down in ways that she has needed to when she's wanted to. I don't think it's just her trying to be kind. I do think that is the choice of words that she made. And so again, I can understand the frustration, Beth, and I think the frustration sometimes comes when you feel like people are not listening because they're not interpreting it the same way as you. And maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong in what's frustrating you, you can feel free to correct me. and somebody can pin your response to me, but I just don't want you to feel like, because as we're going along, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that's going to have very conflicting thoughts to what you're sharing. I don't want you to get, like, my lives are not meant to frustrate people. You know what I mean? KEKY823 said their friendship is on a whole different level, though. They've had to do things most of us don't do. LuxView Ken 4D said, gorgeous is a very Irish descriptor. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Michelle.T49 said she probably should have used the words just friends if that's what they are, especially if he's with A. Tammy Morgan said, makes me think when she said marriage, it's like she's already dating Luke and that's the next step. Zigzag_Elf said, the question over use of the word gorgeous reminds me of Catcher in the Rye. I always pick a gorgeous time to fall over a suitcase. I don't know. Sometimes Zigzag, I'm not sure. I don't have context. I mean, it's kind of a, okay. Courtney said, good evening, ladies. How is everyone feeling? Good evening, Courtney. Carmen said the statement about marriage sounds like foreshadowing. Jan said maybe they have been dating and are engaged, so that's why she said marriage. Shouts for Life says she could shut it down by saying just friends, but she didn't. The wording appears to mean more. Miss M said if she said people want me to be with Luke, it would make more sense. Miss M, I hear that. I think that is more in line. That is more in line with the sentiments that people have said. That people just want her to be with Luke. I'm an endgame person, but like other people are not necessarily. People just want them to maybe give it a shot, a chance. So, M. Phillips, Phoebe, how long y'all been in here? I'm not quite sure, M. Phillips. I'm not sure actually how long I've been here. A bit, I think, but not a lot. Not a long time. Let's see. Michelle.T49 said, like, not just the fans, probably the cast and crew too. Nikki said, yes, I think she could have said they would like them together. Dowsy49 said her mom said he is the one. Now, fact-checking Dowsy49, her mom never said he is the one. She said that's the one, and she was talking about the hug. She and Nicola made it very clear it was about the hug. Tizai Megan, thank you for that gift. That was a cute one. So I don't want her mom misquoted. And people have been misquoting her mom saying he is the one. She's never said he is the one. She said that's the one, and she was talking about the hug. And that's why Nicola was like, wait a minute, I'm your daughter, and like your that hug was more significant to you than mine. Kathy says, so interesting that in the article she mentions only two men, her father and Luke, and she didn't have to. And it's so hard to know if she didn't have to, meaning we don't have a full understanding of the question asked. I mean, it might be very hard to not answer it the way she did based off of how the interviewer asked the question. Just because the article doesn't explicitly list all of the questions asked to elicit the response that she gave doesn't mean that there wasn't something that prompted her to be able to answer it the way that she did. So I'm not sure definitively if that's really the case. But anyways, Dowsy49, just wanted to also go back to Dowsy49's statement about her mom saying he's the one. Like, I just want people to go back to when she actually said that quote. She never said that her mom said he's the one. She always said that's the one. And she was talking about the hug. Because I just don't want people to get hyped up over that statement of he is the one. I don't know where people started saying that her mom said that, unless there's a different quote that people are talking about. But every time I've heard this one, I think it's come from the one where she hugs Luke and Nicholas talking about that hug. And she said that's the one. And I've talked to folks who are from like Ireland, right? And they said that that's a normal phrase of saying, like, I don't know how to describe what that statement that's the one typically means in Ireland, but it's not what people are trying to say here. Beth said, funny people stick to the word marry and ignore her word friendship. Well, I mean, again, it depends, Beth, on like what people do choose to focus on, right? You're focused on friendship. People are focused on marry. Some people are focused on relationship. Some people are stuck on gorgeous. I mean, I think, again, people focus on what they want to focus on, but I think there's value in looking at the whole statement. If you only are looking at one line, like if people only read, a lot of people want me to marry Luke and never read the rest of the sentence, I mean, like the whole paragraph, they're missing the whole context. But if a person only reads, we have a gorgeous friendship, and doesn't read the rest of the paragraph, they're also missing the context. Because there's a whole other context, not just one sentence in a whole thing. And I think that's the point. That's why it's important that people listen to each other, because people do see different things than other people do. And there's a reason for that. Is because people are focused on what they are focused on. Good or bad. It's just the reality. Black Diva said the thing is, it was all about her. She didn't need to mention Luke at all, but she did. Again, it's so hard to know, Black Diva, because they were talking about Pollen, they were talking about the world tour. If that was the conversation and she didn't bring up Luke, wouldn't people think that there's a beef between them? Of course she has to mention Luke at that point. If that was the question. Because it would be odd to be talking about Pollen, the world tour, and not bring up Luke. Hi, Shelly. Nikki said, I'm just glad that they are happy. Okay, let me see if I can translate this. GMYL said, to mention it in such an important interview, I think says it all. Zigzag_elf said, folks can have very obvious chemistry without it being intentionally flirting. Been there? Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And plus, Nicola has stated, right? Like, she doesn't feel like she's a good flirt. She doesn't think she's a flirtatious person. And then she had that whole conversation with Luke, right? Like, we're not really good at that. And Philip said, so marriage is the new word and the out of place word. That's why people are focused on it. Good point, and Phillips, that's true. It's just because it is a new word introduced that hadn't been there before. Like, nobody had ever brought that up. I mean, I felt like I did by saying endgame, but apparently that was not clear to people, because other people had different definitions for endgame, and I didn't realize that. But yeah, so they both, like she has said in that one interview, right? Like, we don't have game. Like, initially we don't have game, but once we get into it, like they do, you know? So they're not intentionally flirty people, but like they are at the same time, kind of thing. Well, at least she is naturally. I think she has that natural, and I don't think she would ever call herself flirtatious. But she's just naturally like inviting, I guess, which makes it feel flirtatious to people. But she is just friendly. She's kind. Tammy said, in my opinion, she mentioned Elle in article because that's how special he is to her. Sammy2224 said, I was best friends with my husband. Beth said, they are just friends. They are gorgeous friends, for goodness sakes. Again, Beth, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with the fact that they are gorgeous friends. The just friends is something that you've just added. They've never said those words. I'm not saying that they aren't just friends, because I do think they are just friends at this point. I don't think they're dating. I don't think they're in a relationship with each other. Okay, Minnie said you think Beth left. Okay. Well, I'm still going to address those things because it's here and I'm back here. But yeah, just going to say, I do think that is just a reality. Miss M said, I don't know their situation, but many married couples I know said they are also best friends. Beth says she's literally telling us they are friends only in relation to working together. Shauna said, we also don't know when this article was taken, so this could have been months ago. We do know when the article was written. It was sometime in September. So it's definitely not months ago, but it's at least, actually the article was written in between her time right before she went to the Emmys, because in the article it said that the sit down happened right before her traveling to the Emmys or something like that. They gave a time frame based off of what she ended up doing. And I know the Emmys was one of them. So that gives us a little bit of a window to know when she said the things that she said. Ma 6, my husband and I have been each other's best friends for over 20 years, started as friends. Tis I Megan said the foundation to true love is friendship. Who has the courage to ask? LOL. Where's Mama Violet? Nikki said, I think Luke is the marrying type. Isabella Marie said yes because has he said anything to Nick about it? Hey, Minnie. I'm just hitting the part here, Minnie, when you arrived. So hey. Carmen said she also said really. Also said really? I'm not sure what that means. Dowsy49 said absolutely. Zigzag underscore Elf said perhaps she also said people want me to marry Luke because it was an article about her, not about the show, not a Bridgerton related interview. That's a possibility. That's another way. Yeah, it could be. That's another possibility of why she said me rather than us, because it is an article about her. Kathy says, yes, people are actually telling her they want her to marry him. Kat Y said, my husband and I started out as friends, then best friends. Now we've been married for 5 years. Marwood33 said, hope you're feeling better. XX, thank you. Beth says, oh, come on. She's responding to the interviewer. She is calling the fandom people. I mean, I definitely thought that originally. And in the context, I can understand why people would limit it to the fandom itself. But I can understand why people do believe it's further out. Falcar L said, not people want us to get married. Interesting. Carmen says, she said, a lot of people really want me to marry Luke. Okay, got it. Beth says, I think people are picking words apart. I mean, that's a valid observation. I think it's true. Doesn't necessarily make it incorrect, but I definitely think people do look at all the words. Karen says she didn't even have to mention Luke in her Time article. Felker Elf said, thought perhaps she's hung up on marriage because she is focused on her career right now. Beth says, I love Nick and I hate her being picked on and it breaks my heart. Okay. And I know that folks said that Beth is no longer with us, but I don't know if anybody thinks that Nicola's being picked on. Is there any folks that think that the words being looked at is picking on Nicola? I understand it can break somebody's heart if they feel like, I mean, I know that a person, had shared that they felt like people were ignoring what Nicola was saying. And I don't want someone to feel like Nicola's being ignored because people are hearing it differently than how a person hears what she said. But I mean, if this is how Beth is experiencing this moment and she feels like people are picking on Nicola, I can understand why her heart is breaking. I don't know if that's what's actually happening, but I can understand the emotion behind that, if that is the narrative or the thought behind watching people have a different perspective on what Nicola said that's different than what Beth thinks it's being said. H. Manley said, this is a Lucala shipping, right? Or am I mistaken? Because that's what I'm here. Beth says, you're right, you can think differently. Miss M says, I kind of dig her power in the statement, they want me to marry him, not they want him to marry me. And Philip says, I can't with the idea that she is engaged. Not bad, but too good. LOL. Yeah, I tend to be in the camp that says I would love them to be together in the future. I don't think they currently are. I know that there are some folks that believe that they are, but I don't personally. And I'm more likely to believe that they are in other relationships currently, potentially. Or maybe they're not. I don't know. But I just don't think they're currently together. I would love to be wrong, though. But I don't, you know. Shallots for Life said, I think people are more prone to analyze her words because she has an English degree. Oh. And I think to some degree, it's because people have placed this narrative around Nicola being very social media savvy. So because people believe that she is social media savvy, people are more apt to believe that there's intentionality behind everything she does. Does that mean that there is always intentionality in everything she does? Not necessarily. But people are more apt to believe that. And Philip says, thanks for the sis mods. Kathy says, so interesting that in the article she mentions only two... Oh, wait, I read that already. Dowsey's 49 said, sorry about that. Are you talking about the he's the one? That's okay. I just wanted to use that. If that's what you were talking about, I just wanted to use your comment to clarify that. Because you're not the only one who has said that her mom said that, and her mom never said that. She said that's the one, and that being the hug. Kathy says she hasn't mentioned her dad before. She's been super private about that. You know what? I gotta reread it. What did she say about her dad? I totally missed that. What did she say about her dad? Okay, Dowsy49 said, thank you for correcting me. Okay, yeah, no problem, Dowsy49. And it really is it was just an FYI to other folks that may have heard the same thing in the past. Shame.Spiral said, oh, Minnie says she talked about his service. Oh, yes. Actually, I have heard that. I mean, that's probably the one thing that I have consistently heard from Nicola whenever she has talked about her support. Yeah, she's talked about him before, said Minnie. Yeah, I definitely have heard that statement about her dad in the past. Shame.Spiral said, I didn't think that's the one seemed like she was talking about Luke. She was talking about the hug that Luke gave. Because she was comparing her hug, like she made her replay the hug that she was having with Luke and said, that's the one. But she wasn't talking about Luke being the one more than it was that I gotta find the video and replay the actual quote that Nicola was talking about, but it was clear she was talking about the hug. Now whether and I think it was also the mix of that and having conversations with people that said, oh, that just means this in Ireland or whatever. I don't know if somebody's here in Ireland that can give context to what that's the one means over there. Shame.Spiral said, I don't know why you'd call a hug the one. Well, because they were watching, like she was watching the clip of like Nicola hugging her, and then when Luke went and hugged. I don't know, I can't explain it very well, Shame.Spiral. I would have to remember my conversations with folks from Ireland, but like they said that this is a common phrase. It doesn't mean what I think people assumed it meant here in the States. And I don't know if you're in the States though, actually. Are you in the States? I'm not sure. MKAFUANG said, true, but we hear about interviews that questions are approved prior to the interview. Yes. I mean, sometimes. Shame.Spiral said, but I have no clue, LOL. Sanibel Sunshine says she likely had final sign-off on the article's content, so she had control of the narrative. I don't know if that's definitive. There's a lot of folks where they don't necessarily get to see the final. Obviously, obviously, the people who write it need to think about making sure that they present things properly in a way that a person would want to still do interviews with them in the future. But I don't know. I don't know how often that happens where people do have to sign off on an article. For example, like when the whole situation, the Papgate happened with People Magazine and stuff like that, like People Magazine had stated like they don't necessarily ask people's permission to write things, right? Like So it doesn't always happen. MKA FUANG said maybe not always, but it's happened. Yeah. And Philip says people who date are friends. The best couples say their partner is their best friend. 100%. Lucia, was it ever confirmed that they are both in a relationship? N with J and L with A. The best way I can answer that, Lucia, hopefully, I don't know if I'm butchering your name, sorry, is, the best way I can, describe that is this. Has it come out of either of their mouths? No. So no, there's not been an official word from them. Now, the ones who believe they are in those respective relationships say there's enough circumstantial evidence to arrive at that conclusion, unless you're wholly unwilling to consider it because you're committed to the narrative that they can't be dating these other individuals. So the short answer is no. If confirmation means out of Nicola's mouth and Luke's mouth, no, they never have. But if you're saying based off of circumstantial evidence where people are trying to make you assume based off of the breadcrumbs that both potential partners have left to give you the impression that they are with these individuals, then people will say that they feel like there's enough there. People make their own decisions of whether they think that there's enough there or not. Or whatever it might be. But if you're talking about like straight up, just out of their words, out of their mouths, no, they have not. Alexi Vo 80 says she hasn't ever said just friends. KEKY823 said L with A yes and with J no. I would like to know, KEKY823, where you heard L with A say yes. Because I will tell you, when Papgate happened and People magazine had the exclusive, they never had one quote from Luke. And in the article itself, it still had to say rumored. Because they could not definitively say officially that he said that that was the case. They wanted you to assume that based off of the pictures that they chose to show. But I never have like an official word out of his mouth. So if you do actually have a quote from Luke that states this to be the case, again, not saying that he's not with her and that Nicola's not with the other person. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm not making, because I don't know, because neither of them have confirmed nor denied any of these things. All I'm saying is I must have missed that. So if you have a quote, let me know. But I have not seen one from Luke. Nikki said, whatever they are, they truly love each other, and that is a wonderful thing. And Philip says she's talked about their friendship before. She's aware the fandom is waiting for the word just. And she didn't give it to us. And Philip says, effervescent. Bubbly with class, LOL. Tanya says she's just a very bright, loving person. I'm sure she makes people feel comfortable around her. Yeah, I do think so too. And Philip says it was late September, I thought. MKAFUANG said before the Emmys, so M. Philip said mid-September. Karina _75 said her PR would have had to sign off on the article. Yeah, I am, again, I'm not sure. Because I've seen enough where people, that's not required, but it might have been. I guess I don't know one way or the other if that is like hard and fast, like objective, like always happens. I don't think it does always happen. Shauna said thanks for the clarification. And Philip says there's no way, only we see it, no way. and other people have talked about their unsettling chemistry, so they know. No. No. Yeah, like her friend was the one who said they have unsettling chemistry. And she offered that quote too from her friend. Another thing she didn't need to say to us, but she did. She offered the fact that one of her friends, people who know, a person that knows her, because it's her friend, a person that engages with her, and not just some like outsider fans looking at her from afar, but someone who engages with her on a consistent basis, says y'all have unsettling chemistry. Again, something that she didn't need to offer, but she did. And Philip says, right, there's no reason to mention Luke at all. Jan said, makeup artist for Bridgerton, post about them too. Nikki said, no. KEKY823 said, no, I think we all love her here. Okay, wait, is this when I was talking about the whole picking on? So, and Philip says, do a poll. Okay, I'm so late behind there, so never mind. KEKY823 said, I was corrected on the relationship status. Sorry about that. I thought I had read it. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, again, like the folks that are very resolved that we don't need confirmation from Luke or Nicola because they're looking at things that Luke and Nicola are not providing. In other words, the only reason that people think that Luke and Nicola are in these respective relationships is not because Luke and Nicola have made it public, but rather it's usually people outside of them posting things about the potential relationships that they're in. If those things were not being put out, there would be nothing. Minnie said, pictures mean nothing when someone has the ability to confirm or deny. And the thing is, people are not explicitly asking them. And maybe that is a request from them to not explicitly be asked that question. I don't know. But they have had many opportunities to kibosh a lot of things, and they've chosen not to. So for people people have their own ideas as why they refuse to do that. But it is a choice. It is a choice that they've made. MKAFUANG said, and really didn't need to mention marriage. She could have just said things after regarding L. And Philip said, I say no. H. Manley said, no one is picking on Nicola. KEKY823 said, you can respect what she says and still ship them. Yeah, I do genuinely believe that. Isabella Marie said, we love her. We're just very interested on her article. Shallots for Life said, I think people are more prone to analyze her. Oh, I read that already. Sammy2224 said, Nicola is a strong woman and will correct something that upsets her. She has before, 100%. Courtney said, no, I think Nick would post on IG like she did when the filming happened. MKAFUANG says, so I find it interesting that the marriage part was even included, knowing how the fandom will react. Zigzag_elf said, I don't know what this says, YLAML, was appalled to see someone saying they were leaving the ship because they thought Nick's post was rude. Nick said 6 words in all the months of chaos. Yeah, if a person thought Nick's post was rude, perhaps the person wanted to film her. I mean, not the person who actually filmed her. We already know that person was apologetic, but like maybe they saw something in the post that they didn't like to hear. Maybe, I don't know. Kim Walton said, no, in my opinion, I don't think she's being picked on. People are just curious about her love life. Tanya said, I don't think they're together at the moment, but are working towards it. Kim Walton said, we as fans just want the best for her. Velker L, your lives are always respectful. No picking on anyone. It's just lighthearted conversations. I mean, that's my hope. That's genuinely my hope. My word, I really hope I can hear out of my right ear soon, because this is Ow. Oh. Jan said he worked for the UN, passed right before she got Bridgerton. Oh. Oh, he passed. Okay. Jan says she said he's the one. Jan, I would love you if she did say that she's the one, I would love you to provide that video, because I have never heard that. I've always heard that in regards to the video where she said that's the one, and she was talking about the hug. Rena said, hi, I've been MIA all week. What have I missed? The basic gist that you've missed, Rena, I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk about it as well because I've been sick, but the Time 100 magazine, Nicola's new post, and that's it, really. I mean, the other thing I briefly touched base on was Andrew Garfield and Amelia on Chicken Shop Date. KEKY823 said, I agree, she was comparing the hug. She really liked his hug. Michelle.T49 said, I thought that's the one being about. That's the friend you've been working with and talking about. I don't believe so. I mean, I think the best thing is finding that interview once again and replaying it. Jan said she would have needed to approve before published. Also, she might have told Luke also because she mentioned him. I mean, I know that a lot of folks feel like there's a lot of conversation that goes back and forth about approvals and things of that nature. I think it happens far less than people think it does. But at the same time, I don't know that for sure, so I can't say that definitively. MKA FUANG said, but People Magazine is not the same wavelength as Time Magazine. Time is more legit. 100%. 100%. Because People Magazine used to have some legitimacy. I don't know when they lost it, but they lost it a while back. They're more of a tabloid these days than they used to be. They don't do due diligence in the same way. So definitely Time is a lot more legitimate. Nikki said, I think Nicola is very aware of what she said in her interviews. Kim says she spoke about her humanitarian work like her dad did and inspired her to want to help people. Sanibel said People Mag isn't the same caliber as Time. Time intentionally interviewed her and she'd get sign off. Tis I Megan says she is very careful with the way she words things. Zigzag _ Elf said you can find Nick talking about that's the one moment on Mia's TT vid titled That's the One I Agree with Your Mom, Nick. MKAFUANG said circumstantial evidence is messy because it can be interpreted in many ways. Better to trust them directly. Tis I Megan said 100. Kathleen said, I don't think there is a quote. I just think so from the pictures of their trip. Tis I Megan said that's why we are where we are. The door has been left ajar. Kim said CAA liked the post and so did her UK team. Kim said Time Magazine cover. Rena said I'll have to go back and look at those. Thanks. KEKY823 said People is Lady Whistledown. The Greenberg Brigade said, did we talk about... did we talk about Anthony Resinella's part 2 on them? Curious what you think about it. The Greenberg Brigade, yes, I did. I uploaded a live on that. I uploaded a live on that on my YouTube because it was a long conversation. I think the synopsis or the summary of what people felt, a lot of people unfollowed, and many chose to not watch it. Because the first one was like probably one of his fastest viewed videos. And there was a very different feel in his second video. It was a lot more unprofessional. And it felt more... It was a strong 180 that was just kind of like a whiplash effect. with him. It made me really feel like there was conversations between the part 1 to part 2 with people that made him make the kind of video he ended up making. One of the suggestions made during that live was that this was a strategic move to get more engagement. That was what Ronnie had suggested. And that, you know, it was like, oh, if you disagree with me, like, give me other clips and maybe I'll do a part 3. So I think maybe he tried to make a calculated move to, like, make people come back. Didn't expect that it would actually backfire on him and cause people to unfollow him because they felt like it was a bait and switch in a lot of ways. Also, there were 2 things that I was not a fan of, and I stated this in that live, was 1, his commentary on Luke's sexuality, and 2nd, was his commentary on questioning whether Luke and Nicola were actually as close as they claimed they were. I just thought those were 2 things that he didn't have. It wasn't valuable and also odd to kind of like make those statements. Also, the clips chosen were just poorly chosen. It felt very, I don't know. He usually, I would think, watched longer clips, and yet this one felt a lot more spliced and diced. So that's the basic gist. But if you want to read or not read, hear other people's thoughts, you can see on my YouTube what a 180 episode, and that was all about that discussion. Let's see here. Rosemary saying I've translated it. It's trying to understand. Greetings from Peru. Hello from Peru, Rosemary. I'm so sorry. I know that one of the things is that, like, there's not automatic translation during lives. That's the reason why that's the reason why you end up like I end up uploading it on YouTube so it could hopefully translate it to people's languages. Anna B said, "That's the one," is a saying. When you enjoyed something, you say that's the one. That's what. Thank you, Anna B. I think that is what I was told by people from Ireland. That when she said that's the one, it was to say that she enjoyed that hug from Luke. Like, that's the one. Kim said he just wanted engagement and views, in my opinion. Sanibel said reputable mags get content approval to be able to, quote, avoid lawsuits and maintain integrity. Zigzag_Elf said it was snarky and dismissive and unprofessional. The Green Bird Brigade said, interesting. I personally didn't watch it, but I heard people were upset about it, fishing for views. Tanya said, I absolutely did not like what he had to say about Luke, though. Zarina said, what topic are we discussing about? Zarina, we were talking about the Time 100 article, but we moved on based off of Greenberg Brigade's question around the Anthony Rosanello Part 2 on Luke and Nicola on YouTube. Zigzag_Elf said, I think it's strategic too, trying to create tension, friction, conflict, wanting people to send him more stuff in a prove me wrong kind of move. Yeah, and I think it really did backfire on him. Zigzag_Elf says, Zarina, we're talking about the so-called dating expert. Tessa Playlist said biased. Sammy2224 said he curl all the videos deliberately. Wait, oh, curl or maybe clip. He clipped all the videos deliberately, maybe, as my guess. That was saying. Lay said who? Anthony Rosanello on YouTube doing, he's a self-proclaimed dating expert. Okay, so I've hit the end of this live. I mean, not this live, the comment section. My question to y'all is, did you want to talk briefly about Nicola's post where she put New York rats. Hey, good morning. Oh, is it morning over there, Chantel? It's evening for me, 9:07 p.m. over here. So is it Saturday over there then? Okay, so Moss6 and Dowsy49 said yes. So, Tanya said that post is confusing. Rita said whatever the question is, yes, always yes. The Greenberg Brigade said yes, curious what people think. Okay, Chantel said it is 6:07 a.m. on Saturday morning. Bombshell Baby 22 said yes, what was your opinion? And CRM 8291 and Elichata all said yes. Tis I Megan said, does anyone think there is beef or not? I don't think there's beef. Zigzag_Elf said, I think the rats reference was just playful, like rats scampering around the city on a placation. Okay, so what was my opinion? Bombshell Baby 22 asked. And also, like Greenberg Brigade said, curious what other people think. I'm also curious what other people think, so I would love people to continue to put their thoughts on the post. Before I actually share what my opinion is, well, maybe I'll do a double with Tis I Megan asking, so does anyone think that there's beef or not? So I don't know if people think there's beef or not, and who the beef would be between, but I don't personally think there's any beef. I did like what somebody from Brazil offered, which is, what rats being used like gym rats or beach rats or whatever, like basically that statement being about like enjoying a place or enjoying a thing a lot. And so being New York rats could be that they just really like New York. Now the question was, it was plural, it wasn't just one. So who's the plural? Who is the S in the rats that both enjoy New York? So one camp, actually, let me read what the statements are here first before I go on. C. Logan 248 said, do you think someone's camp did not want him to do a second video? It took a long time for it. I have no idea, genuinely. Beautiful Fairy said rats don't have a great connotation. Typically, I would say the same thing too. But I do think it makes sense to say that, like, gym rats, that isn't a negative connotation. And it had a red heart right afterwards. 4K NK said, hi, Phoebe, just saying hi, karaoke night, so got to go. Oh, enjoy 4K NK. I love karaoke. Elichati said, rats in my culture is not a good thing. Me neither. I don't like rats. Jan said, check on Dr. Shaz's post for New York rats post. Beautiful Fairy said, gym rats is still pejorative, always lurking. Tanya said, I never think about rats in a good way, lol. Nick doesn't like rats, lol. So I don't know. I don't like rats. I know she doesn't like rats. Sammy2224 said she posted the Ratatouille one, so maybe it's something to do with that. Chantel said, anyway, the rat reference linked to Ratatouille rat post. JMO613 said, rats is her and Jay no. I mean, she tagged him. Zigzag_Elf said, I don't like seeing how tarot readers' thoughts are influencing people's opinion of real people in a negative way. Ma6 said, it seemed weird she would do that post at all. She'd already had posts for New York, but 2 hours after Jay's. Beautiful Fairy says she had a red heart at the end of her normalized not filming people too. Rena said, I'm living for the day someone refers to me as a gym rat. Dowsy49 says, rats is not a good thing, means someone is speaking about you. Okay, so Zigzag_Elf said, the tarot reading presentations are worse than the real people fanfic in a way, because it's put across as fact, not fiction. I feel like you're probably thinking of specific ones when you're saying this, saying these, if you've come across something or whatnot. Okay, so what I will say about this is, does New York rats with a red heart have to be something negative? Okay, so some people are saying when she said normalize not filming people in public, that she had also put a red heart right afterwards. So is the red, what does the red heart mean? Is the red heart a softening thing? Also just felt like, what did it have to do with the particular post? So one of the people said, Kiki D said, big mood rats. I feel like I there was a rat, I feel like. I mean, at least for her, that she had to hold, which, that grosses me out to think about. But I feel like I like the idea that someone said in Brazil, where it's like, it just means that you frequent someplace a lot, or you enjoy something a lot. That is another way that people say rats, like gym rat. I do think that makes sense to me, if it is meant to be positive. I don't think it's meant to be derogatory. But I mean, I understand though why people would think so, because rats don't typically have, I mean, unless you're talking about a gym rat, a positive connotation to it. Lala 1083 said, I think it was indicative on how busy the NYC trip was, scurrying from one thing to the next. Kim said, oh, do you think she personally just saw a rat, maybe in the hotel? Oh, that would be bad. That would be bad if that was the case. Oh no, I feel like I need to take medication again, because now I'm starting to like really like feel it all again. The Green Bird Brigade said, as a creator, I put a green heart after everything because green birds, but it doesn't mean anything. Mosek said, but the rat comment didn't seem to be reflective of the black and white photo. That's why I was so confused by it. I was like, what does this have to do with New York rats? This photo, right? So, which brings up the point of the person who said earlier, does this have to do with Jay? Because Jay was originally, people told me, I didn't see it, right? But I guess it's all over the other platform, where she originally tagged one of Jay's accounts. Not his personal account, but like his film account or something like that, for taking the photo, and then remove the tag. So, and she didn't say rat, she said rats. So could it be that she's talking about her and him being there in New York is what somebody's offering. Chantel said, but rats are synonymous with NYC. Had a Starbucks cup from NYC that had cute rat images on it. How? What? No. What? I cannot. Why would Starbucks put rats on? No. Hard no. Hard no. Zigzag _ Alf said, I tend to use green hearts because it's my favorite color and nature is my greatest love. Carmen said, Rugrats, Rat Pack, Rats in BY. Unless you meant NY. Groups of people in NY. Okay, you did mean NY. Zigzag _ Alf said, I saw in a podcast the other night that rats are just part of NYC life, regardless of the quality of the apartment. Y'alls, don't scare me about this, okay? Don't scare me about this, because we're planning to do a trip to, we're planning to do a trip to New York in the fall of 2025. This is like my worst fear, okay? I do not want to see this. If I go there, please, I'm gonna be freaked out. Like, I cannot. I want to go to New York City, but I'm afraid of this. The Green Bird Brigade said, it's weird that the tag is gone now, though. Are we sure she tagged him to begin with? Yes. Well, I don't know. Other people would say yes, because I guess in the other platform, they snapshotted it before it was removed. The thing is, that particular account that she would have tagged has no tags. Like, nobody has tagged any photos ever. So I think I don't know if she removed it or if they just didn't accept it. Because they don't, if you go to that account, if you look at tag posts, there's no tag posts. Like, there's no posts. Not one. So I don't think that account allows for tag posts. Like, they probably requests approval and they probably denied it. because she didn't choose, again, she didn't choose his personal one. She chose his film account one. Kathleen said the big mood video about where she says Camilla made her hold a rat. Tanya said, I wouldn't drink it. Yeah, me neither. Chantal said, they were cute cartoon ones on the cup. I don't know. It took me a really long time to even look at Ratatouille, to be honest. And you never saw rats while in NYC? See, I would like to have that experience. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Just knowing it's there, though, sometimes. Dowsy49 says you don't see them running around. Oh, thank God. Zigzag_L said, if we're going really cryptic, rats is star backwards. And they're both stars. I'm kidding, of course. I don't think it's that deep. Rena said, I've also heard in NY you have to cover the drains and close the I can't even read that, Rena. And cover the drains and close the toilets because of rats. Oh, my word. I'm so grossed out right now. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Kiki D said, I didn't see a rat when I went to NYC. Okay. Jan said, yes, she did. Beautiful Fairy said, you can hide tags. Tanya said, I'll protect you from the rats. Thank you. I need it. I can't. I cannot. Roseanne said, I've been to NYC a lot and never saw a rat. So is this like, so why do people talk about rats so much in NYC if people don't see them a lot? It's kind of like people talk about it raining a lot in Washington State. Well, it kind of does rain a lot, but sometimes it doesn't. Kim said rats in the stairwells during photo shoot is possible. They are everywhere in New York. See? How are they everywhere and yet so many people never saw them? Isabella said, I never. You won't. You'll be okay. Carmen said, rats mostly come out at night, maybe about trying to get around undetected. Well, they did a poor job if it is about the two of them. They did a poor job being undetected. Cat Y said, I go to NY a lot. I see them once in a while while going down the subway. LOL. Oh, cannot. Isabella said, maybe it depends on where you stay. Please tell me where I can stay where I don't see this. Adiago Anna said, I saw rats at night in New York, but only in quiet streets. Oh, my word. So busy streets is where... Okay, H. Bailey said never saw rats, now roaches. That's a different story. Y'alls, this is making me question whether I should go. Isabella Marie said, Phoebe, don't get on the subway. I'm feeling like I shouldn't. Dowsy49 said, you will be fine. Of course they are there. Oh, I don't know. Carmen said, Nick and Luke undetected. Oh, yeah. If it was Nick and Luke, I'd believe that. Because they would have been undetected. Tanya said, keep a broom on me while in NYC. Anyways, y'alls, I think my sickness, like, I don't know if my medicine is starting to wear off. I'm starting to feel it again. So I think I need to take some medicine. But this has been a lot of fun. Rena said IDK rumors. I've also heard there's trash on the streets, so I just believe the rat thing. LOL. Anyways, this has been fun. I lasted a little bit over an hour and a half, so yay. Megan said, go rest, chick. Dowsy49 said, I'm very afraid of them, and I went to NYC. Michelle.T49 said, feel better, Phoebe. Tanya said, get some rest. Isabella said, go and have a great time. Don't look down or look for them. H. Manley said, had fun. Ciao. Kiki D said, there's a study. What do you mean there's a study? CRM8291 said, feel better. Chantal, go sleep and rest up. Dowsy49, go rest. Kathleen, feel better. Bombshell. Baby22 said, thank you for the live. It was much needed. Feel better. Thank you. Sammy2224 said, bye, Phoebe. Get well soon. They did a study on the rats. Kiki D. Ugh. Kim said, thanks so much fun. So much fun. Feel better, sweetheart. And Megan said, they'll find you. I kid. You kid not. Megan. I feel like they will. They're like, I know it. They will. Kiki D said, I know, don't look. Oh, I don't wanna. Okay, I'm gonna have to psych myself up when I go there in the fall. Anyways, thank you everybody. Have a good one. Bye. Ah! No! Tisai Megan, why you gotta no, why the emoji? Why? Oh my word. Okay, people are telling me not to do it at night. Okay. Oh no, Rita! Why do you put that in my mind? I'm scared of sleeping and having one crawl on my face. Why put that fear in my mind? Now I do. Okay, I'm going to bed. Bye.